Have you ever heard of a quiet whisper in your ears telling you, making you believe that this is right, even though it's not? What if I told you that voice that spoke to Eve also speaks today? Let's get into today's video. Hello, guys, beautiful souls, and welcome to a place where faith meets reality and Jesus is always at the center. My name is Kia Naomi. Hello, guys, welcome to another video. Today, here I share real life testimonies, godly wisdom, and encouragement to help you go in truth and with grace. So, if you're here for the real talk, purposeful living, and of course, Jesus Christ Himself, then you are in the right place. You're right where you belong. So, let's get into the second episode of this series, right? If you haven't seen the previous one, it is on Adam, so please do check the video out. It's still on the playlist. I will leave it also in the description section, and I'll also leave the playlist right at the end. So if you've missed that one, please check it out. Okay, I spoke briefly on Eve, right? In the previous video. So today we are going to go in a bit more on Eve. I want to introduce to you the first woman that walked this earth, created by God, chosen, loved, and living in perfection. No pain, no insecurity, no suffering, no confusion. She walked in direct relationship with God. And yet, even in a perfect environment, something still went wrong. Because the issue isn't about the environment. It never really was. The main issue was the voice she chose to believe. Now, this leads me to the deception, okay? So, when it comes to the deception, the serpent comes to speak to Eve, not with force, but with a question. Did God really say? He didn't start off by saying the lie or start off with a lie, right? But he started off with doubt, right? And unfortunately, this happens even today, where you are filled with doubt all of a sudden. You might have a plan to do something in your life, right? A plan that you feel like this is what you want to do. And then all of a sudden you get that thought, that doubt that enters in your mind and says, are you sure this is going to work out? God tells you, wait, not right now. The enemy will tell you, why wait? Why wait? Let's say, for example, you want to get married. Your desire is to get married, right? But you're at that age where it's like, I'm pushing, 40, I'm pushing 50, I'm pushing 60. And still no one is coming my way. And you're destined. You are to be with someone. You just have to wait for the right time, right? So God tells you wait, but the enemy is telling you, oh, why wait? Why are you waiting? You ain't getting any younger, right? That's one way that, you can tell the difference between the voice of God versus the voice of the enemy. Another one is God saying, trust me. Trust, I have something planned, something better planned for you. And the enemy will say, what if he is holding something back from you? Not everything that looks good is good, right? Not everything that you see looks good is right. And I say the same thing. Just because everyone is doing it, right? Just because everyone is doing it, everyone's saying, oh, this is liberating, this is freeing, it doesn't make it right. Are you going to follow the mass because everyone is doing it, so that means it's good, it's right? Or are you going to listen to the Spirit of God telling you this isn't right, go the other way, right? Let me tell you guys something. A lot of people, and this is why a lot of people end up in destruction. And remember this, that the road to destruction, the road to hell, is very wide. It's very wide. And the road to the kingdom of the Most High is narrow, right? So are you going to follow the mass just because everyone is saying it's cool, it's okay, it's good, everyone is doing it, right? Or are you going to listen to the voice that is telling you, this isn't right, follow me, trust in me, right? And know I have something better stored for you. So again, not everything that looks good comes from God. So keep that in mind. Now, let's talk about, if we are honest with ourselves, if we are truly honest with ourselves, we've all had that moment, right? We've all had that moment that Eve had once encountering the serpent, right? That moment where you knew what God said, right? He specifically instructed you, don't do X, Y, Z, do this, this, and that. Wait, not right now, be patient, all of that stuff, right? But another voice that is not of God sounds better, sounds enticing, sounds good, right? So we would rather hear the voice that sounds good and ignore the voice that is telling us the truth, that is telling us what is right. Like I said, just because it sounds good doesn't mean it's right. And it especially does not mean it's coming from God. Just this once, it's not gonna hurt, right? Just one time. I'm just doing one more time and that's it. Whatever that one more time, whatever that thing, that specific thing is, right? You hear a voice and you go, just do it once, just do it once more, and that's it. You won't do it again. And now once more, that one more time become another, 2 more times. By the time you realize it's an ongoing cycle where you find yourself doing the same thing back to back to back. It's like a constant pattern. No one's gonna find out, right? Or don't worry, God will understand. He's a merciful God. You just ask for forgiveness, He's gonna forgive you, and you can just go back. And this is why we have a lot of people that are justifying sin, right? It's one thing to fall into sin, right? And, to feel like, it's another thing to fall into sin and then to just be like, do you know what? I'm just gonna live in sin because at the end of the day, God's gonna forgive me anyways, right? And this is the dangerous part, because at this point you're mocking God basically, and you're taking His sacrifice on the cross for granted. That's what the enemy is trying to get you to do. And by the time you realize it, you get to a point where you are now comfortable in sin, right? Because the voice has told you God will understand, He will forgive you anyway, right? Like I've said in one of few videos I've said in the past, I said, right, just because there is grace, right? Just because Jesus has defeated sin on the cross, it doesn't give us the license to sin. We are to run away from sin, not to go towards it. That's the whole purpose of being a child of God, a born-again Christian. And not to say that, you can't be perfect. Obviously not. No one is perfect. We will be tempted. There'll be times when we will fall, right? But what do? Do you stay down or do you pick yourself back up, right? So anyways, that's that part of I'm going to talk about that actually. I actually have another video on this specific topic on falling and picking yourself back up again, right? But anyways, that's another video for another time. Just like Eve, we don't fall because we hate God, right? We fall because we start to believe that maybe God is withholding something good from us. Now, there's also something I want to add on to this, and that is, I want to talk about the greed of human heart, right? Because here's something that I realized actually reading the Bible, reading a specific verse. And on top of that, I think I also watched a video not too long ago about this particular chapter, is that the whole garden, they had everything. They had everything, and God did not restrict them from, eating, fruit from certain trees and all that stuff, right? He gave them everything. They were able to name animals, or Adam named animals. They were not limited. They had everything, right? It was just one tree that they were specifically told or commanded not to eat from, right? Not to eat from. Every good thing that they could ever need. There was every tree, every good thing they could ever need in the garden. Yet it was that one thing that God instructed them not to eat from, instructed them, oh my God, English is leaving my mouth right now. Instructed them not to eat from, that was the one thing they desired the most, right? Isn't that strange? They had everything in the garden, but the one tree that God said don't touch, don't eat, don't even touch it. Out of all the tree God provided, they were fixated on the one thing that God told them not to touch. And if we're being honest, even till this day, this hasn't changed. Why? Let me tell you guys why. Let's just say, for example, God gives you a job that you've prayed for. You did prayer and fasting for this job. I know I've been in that position where I've prayed and fasted for a job and I finally got it, right? So let's say for you prayed and fasted for a job. You cried out to the Lord. You said, God, please bless me with this, that, and the third, right? But the moment, let's say you get this job offer, God blesses you this job offer that you prayed for. You'll be working in there for a couple of months at this point, right? And you were happy, right? But let's say the moment you see someone else get promoted or get a promotion, suddenly what you have now doesn't feel like it's enough. And it could be the fact that you're just not ready for that promotion yet. But to you, that's not good enough. That's not enough. Forgetting about the blessing that God has given you this job to begin with in the first place. Let's say, again, this is another scenario, right? God blesses you, your family. You've always had the desire to get married. You've always wanted to have, your own children. You want to build a home with your spouse, right? Something that you've cried for so long. God has finally blessed you with that and more. But then over time, you start thinking, is this really enough for me? Is this really enough for me? Like, I need more. Maybe you're in a position where you feel like, oh, that honeymoon phase, they talk about the honeymoon phase, that honeymoon phase has kind of just faded away. Now you feel like, oh, I deserve more. I feel like I'm deserving of emotional support, physical need, and you start looking for that elsewhere, right? You start looking for that elsewhere because you feel like what you have at home is not enough. What you have at home is not enough. And then God gives you warning. He's warning you. That very same warning he gave you, you began to ignore it. You began to ignore it, and you started to fixate your eyes on someone outside of your home, right? In other words, you started searching for someone in the streets. If I could put it that way. This is another one. This is my final scenario. You pray for a ministry, you prayed for this ministry. You said this is you want to get into this ministry. You ask God to use you. God has called you into this ministry. But somewhere along the line, it stopped being about God and it started to be more about you. And unfortunately, again, you see that in churches as well, where men of God, quote unquote men of God, are using the Lord's name, but really and truly, it's not about God. This is the dangerous part about your human heart, is that it's not that God hasn't given you enough. It's that we as humans, we struggle to be content what God has already given to us. We struggle to be content when it comes to what God has already given to us. Like, God may have blessed you with something that you really wanted to do, right? He blessed you and more. But then down the line, you look at others, you compare others. On social media, you start to compare those around you and you feel like what you have is not enough. You're not content with it. This is the thing with Adam and Eve, is that they didn't fall because they lacked anything. If anything, they had it all. They had everything. They fell because they wanted to be more than what God allowed. And that same pattern is still playing in everyone's life today. So the question is not just about, did God provide? That's not the question. The question should now shift to, why is that what God gives us is sometimes not enough? Until we deal with that, we will always reach for what God told us to leave alone. Like, we're trying to put our hands up and reach for something that doesn't belong to us, that could basically destroy us, right? We're trying to reach out to that. God is telling you, listen, stay away from it, but you still want to reach it. That's the problem of human hearts. So until we deal with that issue within us, within our own heart, until we evaluate that, we reflect on that, we will always try to reach our hands on what God told us not to touch. I also want to talk about something that's very uncomfortable. This is actually I think this is quite long. This is quite a long video, no? I want to talk about something that might also be uncomfortable that I actually thought of, and this it's going to be kind of like my unpopular opinion, not a popular opinion, but my my take on this chapter as well, and seeing the whole situation with Eve, listening to the serpent eating the fruit and actually giving the fruit to Adam, right? What I noticed is that Adam was there as well, right? The whole time the serpent spoke to Eve, Adam was there. But what was strange about that is the fact that Adam heard it firsthand by God that don't touch that fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? Lest you die. So he took the word. Now, obviously, yes, it makes sense that Eve wasn't there when God and Adam had that conversation. But then again, Eve, this was her spouse. So obviously people say, yeah, but she should have listened to her spouse. That's a valid point, right? But let's not remove Adam out of the equation, and that he wasn't absent. He was very much present. However, he didn't step in, and he definitely did not correct it. Even though he heard the voice from God, God spoke to him directly on what to eat or what not to eat. Or you could eat from every tree apart from this one tree over there, right? In the midst of the garden. And Eve, instead of going back to what God has already said, she listened to another voice, right? But here's where we need to be very careful. This isn't just about Eve, right? Because the real issue wasn't just who spoke, but it's also about who they chose to listen to over God. Eve listened to the serpent, Adam listened to Eve, but neither of them went back to God to really ask, if this is really true or not. On top of that, neither of them actually questioned it themselves and really asked, what did God really say? I'm sure it was at the back of their mind, but because the lie it sounded so good, they just went for it. Let's deep that for a sec, guys. Let's deep that for a sec. Is that after everything and what they've heard, Adam didn't stop her, and on top of that, Eve didn't question it, and they didn't at least come to God and ask him, this was said, this and that and the third, right? And unfortunately, this is something that happens today, right? We hear lies. We hear things that aren't always true. And some of us choose to believe in those lies because it sounds so convincing, it sounds so enticing, it sounds so desirable to the heart, to your feelings, to your emotions, right? It just sounds so good. I could say, for example, someone might have created a rumor against another person, and you instantly believe in that rumor because it sounds so convincing, it sounds so real, without actually going to that next person, the person that the rumor was about, and asking them, oh, so tell me your side of the story. What happened, right? What went wrong? I heard this and that and a third. Like, what's happened? Taking two sides, right? You'd rather listen to the lie because it just sounds too good for you. God already spoken through his word. He already instructed them what to do and what not to do. But instead of going back to him and asking for clarity at the very least, or if anything, we as humanity, because this is not just happen at the start, it's happening even till this day, right? So I'm talking as we as humanity. Instead of going back to ask God to clarify, to show us, to reveal us, is this your word? Is this truly from you, kind of thing? We choose to listen to opinions. We choose to listen to rumors, believe in false rumors. Rumors for the most part aren't usually the truth, right? It's usually like half lie, half truth, right? We follow feelings rather than facts. And sometimes those voices can also be very close to us, very close to us. It could be your partner, it could be friends or a friend, it could be social media. Someone might say something on social media, you might watch something on YouTube videos, and it just sounds too good to be true. It sounds convincing, it sounds enticing, it sounds entertaining. Even our own thoughts, right? Even our own thoughts can deceive us as well. And this is where the relationship comes in, right? God is a God of order. he is not a God of confusion. Likes organization. One thing that I've noticed about God is that he is organized and he likes things structured, right? He likes things according to his will, order, right? He likes order. He's not a God of confusion. Let's say in a godly relationship, there's mutual respect, there's responsibilities, there's accountability before God, right? Which unfortunately we don't see that in the Genesis when God, right, confronted them about what they did. What did they do? Because they ate from the fruit, right? They were blaming each other. No one was really holding each other accountable before God, or holding themselves accountable before God. Like even in marriages, even in relationships, people want to shift blames. They want to manipulate the situation. They want to gaslight the situation. They want to blame the other person for the actions that they committed, even though they are partly to blame as well, right? Like there's no mutual respect. There's no mutual agreement, accountability, responsibility, right? So again, this is why like I really wanted to do these series, because what we see in the Bible is what's happening now till this day, right? It's different era, same issue, right? It's not about control, it's not about the manipulation, it's not about one person is better than the next, right? This is about both people being submitted to God first. Because if Adam in that moment had stood up and said, no, that's not what God said, God did not instruct, God did not say that we should eat the tree, so we're going to stand by it. He didn't stop Eve, right? He didn't even come to God himself. He didn't do all of these things. Now, had he done these things, had he stood up on what God said, then everything would be different. We sometimes resist godly guidance, not because it's wrong, because for some of us, especially for us genuine Christians, we know better, but because in that moment, it feels right. That other voice feels right. And you're just thinking maybe this could be good for you, right? Maybe you deserve this. But let's be honest, right? Rejecting godly wisdom, whether it comes from God directly or through other people, through other godly people, genuine children of God, rejecting their words, their wisdom will always lead us, will always draw us away from him. And that's exactly what happened with Eve and Adam, is that when they realized what they did, shame hit them, shame covered their faces, and they ran from God. When we do something that's not right, that's not okay, instead of clinging on to God, we run to God because we feel like we are unworthy. Following anyone or listening to anyone without checking if this person is of God, if whatever they're saying or doing is against God, right? Is against what God instructed us. That can also lead you to deception, right? So the real question is not who has authority over me. The real question should now be, am I submitting to God's authority first, or am I putting the other voice above God? Let's talk about the consequences. What was the consequences? So eventually Eve eats the fruit, and in the moment everything changed. Shame entered, fear entered, and separation entered with it. And the same woman who once walked with God, once had a direct relationship with him, once walked freely with God, is now hiding from him. This is what sin still does. Like I mentioned earlier, it promises freedom, but it produces distance. It tells you can do X, Y, and Z, but then it makes you pull away from the Almighty God, right? So there is hope. I want to get to the next part, which is the hope, right? So here's the powerful part about this, is that Eve's story doesn't end in failure. It points to redemption. Because where Eve listened to the wrong voice, Jesus came to resist it. Where Eve doubted God's word, Jesus stood on it. And now, because of Jesus, you don't have to believe in every thought. You don't have to follow everything, every feeling. You don't have to follow it, guys. And you definitely don't have to fall into the same trap that the first human fell in. You can choose which voice to listen to. Now, to close this off, I will say this. The question isn't, was Eve weak? Because to be honest, if we were in the same position as Eve, if we were the first humans, there's a high probability we would have definitely made the same mistake. Real question would be, what voice are you listening to today? Because the enemy is still whispering, but God is still speaking too. And your life will always follow the voice you believe. So after you watch this video, take this moment today, ask yourself honest questions. Is this voice leading me closer to God or further away from Him? Then you will know if this voice is truly from God or not, because not every voice in your head deserves your agreement. And that is pretty much the end of my video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do give this video a big thumbs up, share, comment, and subscribe. Keep walking in faith, stay rooted in the Word of God. So please do read the Bible, and remember that your life, your story is still being written by the author of life. Yes. So the next episode will be about Cain. So stay tuned to that. But I will leave you guys to it. You guys take care, stay blessed. Remember, Jesus really and truly loves you. Don't keep him waiting. And by the grace of God, God willing, I will see you guys in my next video.